Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Today we're keeping it G because the family is at home. Business hours have not officially started. And I want to welcome my new good friend, Benito Sanchez, to the Serpa Show. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. I'm so glad to be here with you. It's exciting.
Brother, I really appreciate that you made the time to be here, that you were so persistent in reaching out to me. You made it happen. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Area to Talk and to Camis and Canines for pairing homeless veterans with Camis and Canines. If you want to end a homeless veterans homelessness immediately, ask them, are you a veteran? I don't want to offend anybody, but are you actually a veteran? Are you willing to commit to changing your life? And are you willing to live in a sober living facility for 6 months on 289 acres in Dilzura, California? You could try it out for a week. And we're already ending veteran homelessness here locally. We're already helping people out. It's awesome. So huge shout out to Mirror to Talk. Huge shout out to Kalani at Camis and Canines. And good morning to my new friend, Benito Sanchez with Primerica Financial Services. And you reached out to me, sir, because you want to hire veterans this month.
Yeah, definitely. They play a huge role in our country. They've done so much. They've served. They've sacrificed, and we wanted to give them a legit opportunity to have that calling when they leave the military. Because many people in the military, they have this calling of they know what to do, they know where to go, they know how to do it because it's so structured. Well, when they leave, they no longer have that fight, that person to fight for. And a lot of them, they get lost in the sauce. And
that's right. People don't know what they don't know until somebody comes along and lets them know that they don't know it. And sometimes it just takes somebody coming along and clicking a light bulb and saying, hey, listen, you're still designed for a purpose. You're still designed for a fight. Let me help you transition your thought into being of service in a different way. And you transition, you're a person of service, and we're going to get to that. But using financial management as a way to serve others. Interesting.
Yeah. I feel with my faith, it was the perfect door opener to be able to talk to people. Because most people, they don't realize, but the Bible, it talks a lot about money. And so the Lord gave me the passion to go out and talk to people about the Lord. And he gave me a business that's my platform to be able to go out and do that. We do seminars for
cool. Using your faith. And I'm a person, and I always talk about, I always respect Christians, and I end up rolling with a lot of Christians because they're a lot of the times the most fanatic people about helping other people. And that's what I saw in you that I was so passionate about. You, when most people were finishing up their high school diplomas, you were out ahead of the curve, and you were just like, get me out of here, get me to Cambodia. What were you doing, and how old were you when you headed to Cambodia?
The first time when I headed to Cambodia, I was 16 years old for a month. And then the second time I went right after I graduated high school early. I went to Cambodia because I just wanted to go on a mission trip. I felt that's where the Lord was calling me. And the Lord opened up an opportunity very last minute to be able to go out to Cambodia. And I served out there while most people were spending their first year in college. I was out on the mission field just serving others because, you know what? I grew up, everybody talked bad about Christians. They always said this, they said that. They say one thing, but they do the other. I wanted to be able to have my faith, because in the Bible it talks about faith without works is dead. I wanted to have a faith that I could be of action and service with people, so people could see my faith. I didn't want to just tell somebody my faith over and over and like bash them over the head. I wanted to be able to show them the love of Christ through action, because I believe that's what the Lord has called us to do, is to go out and do it and be of good service.
So many people are frustrated about the election right now. So many people are feeling disenchanted or disenfranchised, and they're saying society sucks. And I challenge you and I say, society doesn't suck, you suck.
Yep.
If you're not willing to be a part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. And so I love that you're leading from the front. I love that you're being a part of it, and that you are already serving people before you decided to get into a place where you were in financial security, you said that there's a lot of that the finances shows up in the Bible.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was very interesting from a different angle, that listening to Joseph Campbell talk about finances in a spiritual level. So talk to me a little bit about what you guys are doing, who you're hiring, and what you're looking for.
So we're recruiting nationwide. We want to bring on veterans. We want to bring on current military people. Someone that there's sometimes people have more month at the end of their money. And so a lot of them fall into military, because you know what? Military, at the end of the day, when they first got started, that same check does not spend the same a year, 2 or 3 years after being in the military. And so they just need to make more money. And what better way to give back to our veterans than in the month of November? Because of Veterans Day, we want to honor them. Our company is going to bring them on board. We're going to pay for all their state licensing. We're going to pay for their fingerprints. We're going to pay for their schooling. We're going to pay for their testing materials, their school books, everything. Everything's going to be.
People look at that and they say, "Oh, well, you know what? That's not that big of a deal," or blah blah. And it's like, no, that is a huge deal for somebody trying to transition not just into a job, but into a career, something that's going to be life changing for them and their family, and set themselves up for a little bit of security, or just somebody that's looking for a little bit of extra part-time work, to have somebody pick up those fees. And so what's connected? What's the asterisk? And a lot of people, when they help out veterans, they say, listen, we're going to pay for everything, and then we're going to hold your feet to the fire. What's the asterisk? Where's it coming?
So basically we want their commitment that they're gonna give their best foot forward, because we want to give them we don't want to hold anything against them. If they get started and then they're like, you know what, we tried it out, we got our licenses, we met our guidelines, and it just doesn't work out. You know what? Well, I believe we did our job. We showed them an opportunity, and it just may not have worked out for them at that time, because timing may not be right. But for the right people that come on board and get started with us, veterans, they have the strongest work ethic I've ever seen. These people, they're go-getters, they're motivated, they're hungry, they're humble, they're smart, they understand what it takes to be a killer in business. They understand what it is to be enthusiastic about their life.
That's right. There's a taste to freedom that those that haven't fought for it just can't really experience it. And people who have served, that really understand what a beautiful thing it is to be born in this country and the opportunities that are available to them, have a tendency, because they've also been trained by Uncle Sam, to adapt and overcome, to succeed no matter what, and to break things down simply and to be efficient. They learn to lead by learning how to follow great leaders. And that's why I think that I actually have a whole YouTube series about why I think that veterans hired and considered right alongside those with 4-year degrees, because of the things that they learn while serving their country during a time of war.
They got that street smart versus the book smart of going to college. And honestly, in a lot of careers, that's what it takes to succeed. So
what's interesting is a lot of them have the book smart too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just decided that they wanted to serve instead of going and doing cake stands for 4 years. You know what I mean? And so it's a different strokes for different folks. But you're getting a little bit of love. That's the way you do it. Inspiring. Good morning, nephew. Love what you do. You will be blessed. Yes. Good. Right on. Great job, Benny. Very proud of you. Benito Sanchez is awesome. That's rad. So we're getting some love this morning. And so we're going to shift a little bit into letting veterans know, letting everybody know what's going on in the market. There is a shift. It is here. This is not to scare anyone, but it is just a fact. After 111 straight months of prices going up in Los Angeles, prices have officially not gone up. That's something that Darren Campbell brought up at our recent panel, and that is a huge change. Years and years and years of prices going up, and for level off. The Feds have already raised rates. We're already looking at 5%. And they're looking again. That's going to affect things. So what are you doing to tell people how they should prepare for the shift and prepare their portfolio and their finances? What should they cut and what should they add to their business?
Well, honestly, we always tell people to work their finances through education. Timeless principles never go out of style. I mean, these principles are the same 100 years ago, and they'll be the same 100 years from now. It's the basic financial principles that get people financially independent. Markets, they skyrocket. Markets, they crash. They're very volatile. But one thing that will not change is how to adapt, how to do it, and that comes through education. See, that's the main focal point of our company. Is we want to educate people, basic, middle income, Main Street families all across North America. We want to teach them the basic financial concepts, how to get debt free, how to get properly protected, how to get on the right track for retirement. Because if they're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter if the market's going up or the market's going down. They're gonna stay on track if they have the right financial coach, they have the right financial plan, and they have the right education keeping them in line. Because then they know why they should be doing it with the education.
A good friend of mine, fellow veteran Romeo Guerrera, president of Vets to Reps, said it doesn't matter what the market is doing. I'm making money either way because I'm so diversified. And that's where you need to be. And when you talk about getting back to basics, there's another great book out there called The Richest Man in Babylon. It doesn't get much more basic than that because it's basic principles that will withhold over time and continue to create wealth. Like real estate. Real estate is sold in every market. It's just a matter of who is buying and selling it and where the deals are found. So I'm enjoying this interview a great deal. I'm appreciating it. And what I want to ask you, we talked about Wild at Heart.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. I think that men, I think that women, I think that society is craving a little bit of what this book is preaching. And it's interesting for me to read. Tell me what captivated you about Wild at Heart.
So it's actually there's two books. One's a guy version, one's a girl's version. There's one's called Wild at Heart for the guys, and then one's captured for the women. And what it is it talks about how to fight, how to have that drive to go out and talk to people. Because you know what, a lot of men have been pansified in this day and age. So many men don't want to work. They don't have a work ethic. They don't know what to do, and it's not because that they're terrible men. They just don't have nobody to fight for. See, there's a quote I want to read for you. See, deep in the heart of every man longs for a battle, to fight for an adventure to live, and a beauty to be rescued. That's by John Eldridge. That's the quote out of the book, and it talks about what men in society need to do. And it's the same thing for women. In captivating, they want to be loved. They want to be that damsel in distress. They want to be that princess. And it's just in our innate nature of who we are to be focusing on this.
So I have a lot of women in my life that are, they're very tough women, and what they want is they want to be fought for, and they want to be prioritized. But I'm not necessarily sure that some of them want to be a princess. But I agree for a whole lot of that. And I'm going to try to correct my service here and see if I could come in a little bit better. But you said pansified men. People want to fight. People want to feel a little bit wild. People want something to fight for. What are you fighting for?
Well, I want to fight for my life. I want to fight for my girlfriend, my family. See, the Lord has put a calling on my life to be a provider for not only my parents, but also for my girlfriend. I want to fight from our office, because there's so many people counting not only on me, but on our leadership team at our office. See, when people come and work with me, it's not that they got to make money. I got to be that good example for them. See, when you're leading people, there's people relying on you, and it's not always just your family or your blood. It's people that they've put their trust in you. When people come and work with our company, they're putting their life in our hands and like, man, I trust you enough to show me how to get free. I trust you enough to show me what you need to be doing. And like, I don't take that for granted. Like that is something that's important, because you know what? Even in the Bible, it talks about the Lord will look to and fro, looking for someone that he can count on, that he can show himself strong through. And if we're not that vessel, we can't show the gospel to people. We can't be of good service to people if we don't have nothing to fight for. So to answer it, it's like, I want to fight for what the Lord's giving me to do.
We're saying what we're fighting for. A lot of people that are maybe a little bit more secular would call it what we are. What's your why? Start with why. And the thing is, we have to wake up believing and knowing that we serve a purpose, that we are important, and came through somebody when it was important. You're struggling at one point or another, you were clutch for somebody. Get back to that and redesign yourself for a new success. And that's the difference between post-traumatic stress disorder and post-traumatic growth. Being better than the person that went through the trauma because of the trauma.
Yeah.
Everyone would love to take the trauma back, but you can either be so supremely affected that the trauma makes you less than, or you can be improved by. But you cannot choose to be unaffected by trauma.
Yeah, like there's a quote by John Eldridge, another quote out of the book. It says, "The most dangerous man on earth is a man who reckons with his own death. All men die, but very few men ever really live." And what he's referencing there is most men don't even know what they're fighting for. Most men live in life. I don't know if you've ever read the book Outwitting the Devil. But there's a phrase he calls living in a drift. And most people, they live in this drift in life, and they're just letting life show where they're going. And that's the worst way to live. You have to be on purpose. You have to have a why. You have to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it to be passionate enough. When you wake up in the morning, you better know without a shadow of a doubt, like, what you're doing, because people will smell a phony a mile away. If you're not passionate, if you don't believe in what you're doing, they're not going to follow you. In life,
my favorite people on planet Earth, Pastor Rudy Gonzalez, he says, where there is no church, that's where I had to bring my church. That's why he fights human trafficking, which is just about the most heinous thing out there. And what he refers to these men as, he calls them pipe busters. He says, the world is dangerous. Be dangerous. Get involved in the fight. You said that you're fighting for your office. I love that. I'm fighting for my office. And, like having a tribe, having a sense of belonging, having a group that you go out and you hunt with, it makes everyone better that is a part of something like that. The problem is finding those loyal men and women that you want to hunt with. You know what I mean? The problem is not getting so involved in the image of leadership that you become a manager, that you become complacent. And I think that it's very interesting to talk about being dangerous. And it's very interesting to talk about fighting for your office. So talk to me about the fight.
So our old CEO of Primerica Financial Services was John Addison. He is now one of the executive directors in Success Magazine, and he wrote a book a few years ago, the 7 Principles of Leadership. And one of them, he's talking about leadership. The one thing our society craves the most right now is leadership. Real, authentic leadership. People that can lead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm working from home today. And normally I do these interviews after 10:30, after I've dropped off my kids. But the thing is, or I do it on Monday and Tuesday when they're gone a little bit earlier. But this is so important to me, hiring veterans, that I wanted to make sure that we fit this in. And that's why I was like, let's do it at 8:30 in the morning. If we got to do it at 8:30 in the morning, that's when we'll do it. We'll have dad time after this. But this is important. So he was saying, who are we talking to, Dad? So we're talking about the 7 Principles of Leadership. Take it away, Benito.
And one of them is we need real, authentic leadership. One that's not egotistical, one that's not one that doesn't have a lot of pride, but one that is serving others. Real leadership is about the nitty gritty of serving others. It's like, why when Jesus came, what did he do? He served others. He didn't want people to wait on him. He served others. And so like, that's what we need to have in our life, in our example. And you know what? That's a perfect reason why we want to hire veterans. They are the perfect image.
Think about Jesus. They think about this image that we sell of Jesus through the church. This tamed man that, I'm telling you, Jesus was not attending church once a week. It was a lifestyle for him. Yep. He was a savage. He was a barbarian. He believed in what he was doing so much so that he had the conviction to lead his people on the ground, to get on his knees, and to also, like, everybody thinks about turning the cheek. And that's one of my favorite things about this Wild at Heart book, and about the barbarian way, and about all these Christian books that are being written by these men that are really getting after it. Jesus didn't turn the other cheek because he had to. He didn't say, make yourself a target. It was a principle that he was showing, that in that moment he chose to walk away. He didn't have to. It was powerful.
Yeah.
Jesus despised hypocrites, though, too. It's not that he was this peaceful man. He was calling people out. He didn't get nailed to a cross for being peaceful. He got nailed to a cross for calling people out for being hypocrites, for leading by example, and by setting that bar so high that people were afraid of him.
Yeah.
That was a real leader.
Yeah, and you know what? It takes a real leader like Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. My relationship with him revolves about everything I do. See, when we started our office, we started it on the principle of faith, family, and community. Our faith is the building block of our life. That is the foundation of everything we've done. So we want to build our business off of our faith. The second is our family. Like, our family is so important to us. Not only our blood family, but our family in our office. Like, everybody in our office is literally our family. We love them. We care about them. We mourn with them. We rejoice with them.
That's right.
It is our family. And then our communities. We want to give back to our community. We want to be those trendsetters, the pace setters for our community. Because you know what? If we're going to talk a big game, we better have big action behind it to be able to do it. Because you know what? I believe I serve an amazing, great, awesome God. And I got to share that with other people. See, there's a quote by Penn and Teller.
Hit me with it.
For Penn. I know it's the craziest quote ever. I'm going to paraphrase it. And he always said, if you don't have enough conviction to go out and tell somebody about your faith, you don't really believe it. This guy's an atheist. And he's telling this to Christians. He's like, if you don't believe it that much, why aren't you telling me about it? Like, if you believe it, why aren't you telling me? Am I not important?
Yeah. And so, like, I was literally writing conviction when you brought up conviction. And I would consider myself an atheist or a mystic. But the thing is I love the conviction of good men. I love the people that with the moral authority to stand up on something and say, you know what? I believe in this. I stand by it, and I will not take before those around me are taken care of as well. And that was one of the big things that I really loved about this company that I'm working with. And I'm not going to make this a big EXP thing, but they didn't offer me a special deal that they offered somebody else. They didn't hook me up and then deny everyone else so that they is a lost leader. I got the same deal and the same opportunities as everyone else. That's conviction. That's something that you have to work for. You know what I mean? To say that I have something of value that I'm offering, and I'm going to stand up on these principles and say it's a good thing, that I want to share it with you, and that I'm intense enough about it to keep leading from the front.
Yeah, it really is, because everything in life is leadership. It takes people from where they are to where they need to go. And it's not by dictating them and telling them, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's through encouragement. It's through love. It's through conviction, being there with them. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Sure. And that's one of those things that people throw that away, and they think that it's not but that's one of those principles that I live by. You've got to give crap about your fellow man, and that's conviction. We were just talking about conviction, but Romeo said, "I'm not religious, but I will say that regardless of your religious preference, the first person anyone should believe in first is themselves. If you don't believe in yourself, others won't believe in you." And that's why I talk to people about, if you like, Mother Teresa says, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family.
Yeah.
That's being in science, that's being the micro of the macro. That's starting with yourself. Gandhi said, if you want to change the world, change yourself.
Yeah.
And there's all these different, and I think that was Gandhi, but either way, it's a human principle. Fix you a little bit, enough you can go out in the world and help other people.
No, for reals. And he's not saying that just to say that, because you know what, even Christ said it, is when he's talking to the disciple, and he's talking about the little kids, he's like, when you love the least of these, you love me. And it's so true. Sorry, I got to sneeze.
I love that. When you love the least of these, you love me.
So many people, they love the idea, the image of, oh, I want to love Christ, I want to do this, but they neglect everything in the process. And that's why Christians get such a bad rap. See, I'm not a religious person, but I love my Lord and Savior. I have a relationship with him. I believe it's about a relationship over the saying of, oh, I'm a Christian, oh, I'm a believer, oh, I'm this. It's like, no, your actions don't show it. Your faith is not evident. You don't see it, because faith produce works. Like you will show the service of your life through your action, because out of the heart the mouth speaks. If people don't know you're a Christian from what you're saying, you need to do a checkup from the neck up. Because you know what, I come across so many people that have been turned off by my faith, not by my faith, but the convictions that I hold, because of superficial reasons. Like, oh, this person turned me off because they're a hypocrite. Oh, this person turned me off because of this. You know what? We are wretched people. We are messed up people. But we have to make sure we're doing what we got to do to go out and share the gospel, because we are an imperfect vessel sharing a perfect gospel. And so people need to hear about it, even if we're messed up. But we got to do our due diligence on living holy, living right, doing the right thing, putting our best foot forward. Because you know what? I believe the Lord will take care of the rest when we come in contact with them.
I can't tell you which scripture it is, because I know a bit about the Bible, but I can't quote it. But he says, worry about the log in your own eye before you worry about the speck in your brother's. And I think that so often we get so consumed about society or what he's doing, about what they're doing, that we don't just start with us. And one of my favorite Christian writers is a guy named Erwin Raphael McManus, The Barbarian Way. And it talks are completely blind about 30 feet out. They're about 2,000 plus pounds, and they've got a giant horn on the front of their head, and they're faster than squirrels. They can run about 30 miles an hour, which means that whatever is in their way better get out of their way.
Quick.
That's right. So he wrote two great books. One was called The Barbarian Way, and I think that the other one may have been called Crash. But you know what? We got a question right here.
Okay.
Hi, Benito Sanchez. I know a guy in Southern California that works with wounded veterans and are part of a PTSD program and get healthy by working out with them. Would they also qualify? Do you understand the question, or do you want me to phrase it for you?
Phrase it.
Okay. I think that he works with veterans that are working in transition, and they're getting healthy by transitioning in a PTSD program to getting to work. Could they work part-time while getting started in financial management?
Oh yeah, definitely. As long as they don't have a criminal record, and they would be able to get the license through the state of California, we'd be more than willing to bring them on board. We have a leadership and a mentorship program that can help them get on the right track. to start working with us as well. So a lot of people, they've never thought that they could be in this type of career. So giving somebody the foundation and giving them the mentorship and the leadership to stay with it makes all the difference, and it does really help them succeed here. So even if they may have some of those pre-existing conditions coming on board, we will work them out together, and we'd be more than happy to do it with them.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? There's a big stigma right now about PTSD. And of course, with everything that happened in Thousand Oaks, that's understandable. But a lot of the people that I know that are struggling with PTSD are some of the best people that I know. And they're extraordinarily capable. They just don't service anymore. They don't know where their fight is. And so I'm encouraging everyone to continue to dust off your boots, stand up straight. Remember to serve your family, community, but serve yourself. Connect with you and figure out what you need. And so, and a big part is reading, getting right, seeking help when you needing help or when you need help, and understanding that there's no shame involved in that. That's standing up, is knowing when you need help. So my brother, who I enjoy so much, Lessons from the Hand While Hilton is a great one. Struggle Well is a great book. Hit me with your great book, my friend.
Well, the greatest book that anybody could ever read in their lifetime, I believe strongly 100% is the Bible. I believe that will change their life. Everybody is looking for that latest and greatest self-help book, the self-improvement book, the I need to get better book. You know what? The Bible, I believe, has many facets. It will bring you up when you're down. It will show you what you need to be doing. It will correct you. It will convict you. It is the most important book that anybody could ever read as a Christian or even not a Christian, because there's many people that I've met that read the Bible because it has so many great leadership principles in it. And I believe, you know what? That's planting a seed. Our job as Christians is to plant the seeds in people's lives, and then the Lord will go in and water and nurture that seed to have that relationship with Him. So that's the greatest book that I could ever recommend somebody could ever read is the Bible. And I
tell people that I'm not a Christian, but I respect the house of Jesus. And I think that I read a lot of apologetics, and I also I know a great deal about the Bible, and I enjoy talking about the Bible to my religious friends because I enjoy it. I enjoy the lessons, and I enjoy radical men. I enjoy people like Martin Luther King. I enjoy people like Jesus. I enjoy people like Mother Teresa. I enjoy convicted people that are willing to stand up for something that they believe in, come what may. And the principle of these violently principled people, they are the ones that end up changing the world 9 times out of 10 because they live with that conviction that we've been talking about throughout the course of this show. So there are a million versions. What's a reader-friendly version of the Bible? So I will tell you right now, I'm not somebody that opens the Bible. I don't read it regularly. I read it quite a bit when I was younger. I read a lot about the Bible. I've heard of a lot of opinions about it. He's saying, hey, you know what? Give me the Bible for dummies, or give me something that's so, like I said, hey, The Barbarian Way. Read anything by Erwin Raphael McManus. The Last Arrow is a new one. Read what we're just talking about, Wild at Heart. Give me another book that will give somebody access to the Bible that is not necessarily going to sit down and start with the Bible.
So to answer his question, I would say the New King James Version would be a really good book for him to start out with, so he could read it. But a really good book that I
love it, unrelenting. Give me a different version of the Bible. You're like, the King James Version of the Bible. That's what you get, bro. That's great. No, hit me with it.
So the other book, it's a book that I give to every single one of my clients because you know what? I really do believe like this book can change somebody's life, especially in my field. It's called How to Manage God's Money by Randy Alcorn. It's a very basic principle book. It goes over chapter and verse. It goes over the section, like what is the Lord talking about here? How does it apply, and how does it apply to my finances? Because there's so many people out there that will say, oh, it's in the word. The Bible talks about it. This guy said it. This says it. And it's like, no, give me the actual location in the word that it talks about it, because I need to know truth. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. I want to know truth.
Yeah.
And so the book, I believe, really does it. And I believe through finances, somebody could be saved. See, the Lord has put me in a platform, in a business, that my ministry is finances. I get to go out every single day and talk to people about finances. What's a better way to talk to them about finances than talk about the word? Because the word talks so much about finances. They intermingle. They are the perfect marriage between business and the word. And that's my avenue. That's what I get to do. That's why we want to hire veterans, is because, you know what? People need leadership. People need to learn how to manage money. And you know what? Veterans, they have the best work ethic right now. They're go-getters. They're hungry. They're smart. They're humble. These men and women that have given so much, they sacrificed, are transitioning out. We want to give them a legitimate opportunity to come on board working with the no strings attached. Hey, this is what you're doing. This is what we got. Let's go for it together. You know what?
It's really interesting. I think your vibe attracts your tribe. And I strongly believe that. It's kind of become like a bumper sticker of the new age. But I wanted you to speak about your faith because I think that it's important. And because I don't want somebody to come into your office not thinking that it's going to be a part of your culture. It's a basic principle and it's a foundation of how you've built your business. And I respect you for that. Christian Tikas is another good friend of mine who is also religious and also principled. I keep a lot of religious company. I keep a lot of people that are very devout in their faith because they're principled and they live by it. And I think that one of the big problems that a lot of them are working against is what you've brought up. They're working against a negative stigma that has been associated with the religious, which is built by the establishment. And I think that what you keep saying is serve the lowest, serve the people around you that you will get nothing back from. Get down on your knees and help people. And yeah. I believe in service. And because it's hard for me to think about plentifully when people around me are struggling. And so I thank you for being willing to pass that along to everybody and say, hey, this is a part of my life. I want to save people by reaching out to people and educating people and potentially changing their life, whether it's through finance or through Christ or through the universe or whatever it is. If you're patching people up, brother, you've got a friend in me.
Heck yeah. But it's exciting because you know what? When the Lord's talking and he's like, people will see me through you. I really want to live that out. I want to go and reach the ends of the universe. I want to go talk to people on every continent about Christ. But I don't want to always just say the words coming out of my mouth. I want them to see me through my action, through my love, through my devotion, through what I do. Because you know what? The measure of a man is not what he does when people are watching, but it's what he does when nobody's watching. I want those moments to be what people really see and see Christ through.
That's awesome. I think, a lot of people, they come up to me after these speeches and they're like, oh man, I love this about you. And I love that. And I'm like, anything that you're seeing in me, there's a really good chance that it's in you already. Like if you're asking me about how to cultivate it and all this different stuff, there's a really good chance that it's already in you. And so it's just a matter of, standing up. At some point or another, you just got to stand up. So I want to invite everybody out on November 19th in Temecula, out to Leoness Winery. I am assembling the best minds that I know. People are flying in from all over the state, all over the country to come into Leoness on November 19th from 5:30 to 7:30. And we have a man who sold $4 billion in real estate who's going to talk about investing. We have a Marine who's active duty, made $19,000 in wholesaling in his first month without a real estate license. We have people who made tons of money in REO that run national networking groups of REO, including powerhouses locally. And I believe that by educating people, new people can stand up and be empowered and then pass on generational wealth to their children, and that we can throw off the inverse of power in this world and give a little bit more of it back to the people. People can stand up on their own principles. You know what I mean? People can, like we talked about earlier, learn something new. Just empower yourself. So I would love to see you there on November 19th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Lee and S Sellers. What would you like to leave people with, my brother? We're getting ready to wrap up here so that I can play with my kids a little bit before we send them off to school. And I appreciate you making time for me on this Friday morning. Give us a wrap up, handsome.
So a little bit is I'll make sure that you get my contact information. So if anybody does want to reach out to me, we're more than happy to sit down with them. But I wanna leave people with my greatest quote that I love by C.S. Lewis is Jesus your spare tire? Is Jesus your spare tire, or is he your steering wheel? See, that's a principle I live by. I want to make sure people know it. This isn't just a side hobby. This isn't just my thing. This is my life. This is my devotion. This is what I do, and this is how what my whole life revolves around. And so I just want to leave that with you guys. But thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. I really do appreciate it. It was really fun, really energetic to be with someone such like-minded that is a go-getter and hungry. Because you know what? So many people are lacking that in this day and age, and then they're sitting back and they're wondering why are they failing in life? Why are they failing in business? Why are they failing in their marriage? Why are they failing in their relationships? And it's because they are not hungry anymore. They're not energetic. They're not enthusiastic about what they're doing, and they've fallen into this complacent lifestyle. And you know what? I never want to be in that situation. And I know you'll never be in there, but that's my mission. Is I want to go and I want to heal the broken that have fallen victim into that little category.
No, I have been there. I was there recently where I was like, I'm just not hungry anymore. It's hard to get up. It's hard to keep going. I don't want to rebuild. I don't want to start from scratch. And I think that a lot of people, that lost everything in 2008, or a lot of people that go through tragic times in their lives, they lose something. They lose the ability to be hungry again. And I think that sometimes you have to understand that, there's this great principle of life that a good friend of mine preaches religiously, Rick Jiha. He says, be, do, have. It's not have, do, be. Be the person that you want to be. Do the things that you want to do. And then you will have the things that you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the inverse. A lot of us think that, once I have the things that I want, then I'll be able to be the person that I want to be. Negative. That's not life. So start off by saying, I'm going to be better than the person that I was yesterday. Dust yourself off. Be hungry. Surround yourself with great people, with your pack, with your tribe, with your hunters. Understand that it's okay to be a lone wolf, be a pack, and surround yourself with like-minded people. So if you find yourself a veteran or some additional income, looking for a new grind, something to be involved in, financial management, if you want to get involved and you want to work with Benito Sanchez, I think that it could be a very fantastic thing for you in your life. If nothing else, give this guy a phone call and see where it could go from there. And, like attracts like. And, a culture that is extraordinarily religious would be difficult for me over a long period of time. But you know what? I want to send you your people, brother. You know what I mean? I want to empower you to change the world because I think you're going to do it regardless. But if I could push you along a little bit further, I'd love to do it.
I really appreciate that. That means the world. But again, thank you for taking the time out this morning to learn a little bit about me and what I'm doing, my grind out here in Murrieta, Temecula Valley. But I love what you're doing. Like you said, likes do attract likes, and you know what? I think we can help as many people as possible if we just keep our head down and keep our nose to the grindstone, and just keep on trucking along.
Absolutely. Of this, Thank you, Perez Linda. Semper Fi to you. The New International Version Study Bible. That is your gateway into the Bible for those of you looking for one. But what I would like to do is I'd like to take a moment and I'd like to kind of finish off where we started. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to give a little bit of a shout out to Murrieta. Through Murrieta Talk and through a post that was posted recently, somebody said, hey, I came across a homeless veteran. And through Camis and Canines and Kalani out there in Dulzura, we're already working to ending their homelessness. There is no reason that a veteran should be sleeping on the streets in their car when they are willing to commit to a sober living facility on 289 acres in Dulzura. You can try it out for a week. Kalani will get your butt cheeks out there and then help you recognize your worth. Murrieta Talk, thank you for passing that information along. Thank you for helping to end homelessness for veterans. Thank you to Kalani and Camis and Canines. Thank you to Benito Sanchez for empowering veterans to get out there and change their lives. This was one of the shows that I have ever had. I was not expecting that. I have had a lot of veterans on. I've had a lot of people that cuss and let things slip, but I have not, I don't know if I've had a more passionate and polarizing show as I have had on just now with you. I appreciate you wearing your heart on your sleeve, my brother. Love you for it.
All righty.
Serving veterans in Murrieta. Reach out to Benito. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. See us on November 19th on Monday at Leoness Sellers for Entrepreneur Power Panels presents the Recession Proofing Your Business, How to Make Money in Any Market. Appreciate you for tuning in. Everybody have an excellent Friday. Get out there, love hard, be awesome, and be the change and all that good stuff.
Later. Thank you.
Later.